Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Samad. I wanted to talk about the 10 Glaswegian words and slangs that I currently use. My boyfriend is Scottish and I thought it would be a fun video to just share with you some things that I've actually adopted as a Malaysian person in my vocabulary now. And I wanted to do it while making a Scottish breakfast.
Okay, so I'm getting the bacon, black pudding, square sausage, some eggs, and usually you would add like tomatoes and mushrooms into a Scottish breakfast, but oh, we have mushrooms, but we don't have any tomatoes. So I'm gonna do that. I might give Fraser some baked beans as well. He's a big boy, he requires a lot of food.
Now let's get started with the words while I start cooking. Subscribe! So the first word or slang that I've started using is oofed. Oofed. It's kind of like a response that you do when you see someone fall on their ass or they've tripped on air right in front of you and you go woofed. That's kind of how you use that word, and I say it very often, and I think I overuse it to a point where it's kind of become like oh my god, but instead of oh my god I'm just saying woof. I'm gonna start frying the eggs first. So the second thing I've started saying that I've started using on a regular, you kidding? Or you joking? If I try to remember how I speak in Malaysia, I would probably say like, you're kidding, right? Or you're joking, right? How people talk is they shorten the words and they don't have the G at the end of certain words. So instead of you kidding, it becomes you kidding?
That's the kind of response that you would give if someone doesn't believe you when you tell them something, or they pretend like they don't know a certain fact, or maybe you assume that someone doesn't know something and you go, you joking?
Look at this, black pudding. This is very Scottish, and this is what makes a Scottish breakfast. So square sausages. This reminds me of Rumley burgers. It tastes very similar, but it's what you have in a Scottish breakfast as well. See? Okay, while this fries, I'll tell you the third word, which is something I find very uncomfortable to say, but I say it very often now because nobody would understand me if I didn't use this word. And the word is Hoover. Hoover. Now in Malaysia we don't say Hoover, we say vacuum, which is I think a very American way of saying Hoover. But when I came here and I started telling people
I need to vacuum my house, I need to vacuum the floor,
people would just be like,
what are you talking about?
And I realized that the term that they use here is Hoover. Not as comfortable to say, but I'm used to it at this point. Like,
are you hoovering the floor? Are you going to hoover the living room? Are you going to hoover this, hoover that?
I don't know, it sounds so different from vacuum. It's a very prominent difference between vacuum and Hoover. Very American, very British. So the fourth word is also kind of a slang. I think it's more of a British slang rather than just Scottish, but a lot of people here use it as well. Quid. Instead of saying pounds, like 5 pounds, you'd say 5 quid. I'm not entirely sure why people say that, because it's not like it's any shorter or simpler to say. It's just a different word to say the same thing. I use that very often now. I'd just be like, how much does that cost?
Oh, it's only 5 quid. Oh, it's only 2 quid.
Okay, so the next word is a word that everyone in Scotland uses, and it's the word wee. You don't say it like that. You don't go wee. It's just wee, which means little. And sometimes I use it, especially when I text. Like I would say like,
it's a wee bit different, or that wee thing.
So I'm gonna start pan frying the black pudding. It looks really silly here, but it's really nice. This is what black pudding looks like. It's basically like blood sausages. And we're gonna have square sausages, which is kind of like Rumley burgers. So the sixth word that I use now is a different version of saying cannot. So you go canny.
I can't do it. I can't do that.
It's just saying cannot, but you remove the OT from the end of cannot and replace it with a Y. So it becomes canny.
I can't do that. She can't do that. You can't do that.
It does roll off the tongue quite easily and I quite like it. Can you hear that sizzle? Mmm. sizzly. While I'm pan frying these bad boys, let me explain to you the seventh word. Yeah, the seventh word is Jeezo. So it's basically like saying, oh, geez Louise. And that's very American, and that's what I used to say all the time. And I kind of still say that when I'm trying to express surprise or shock. And you kind of go, geez Louise. Over here, they say, Jeezo. The eighth word is cheeky. A lot of people like to describe something as cheeky when it's overly indulgent or pleasant. I don't really know what the context is, but people love to say, I want a cheeky Nando's. The next phrase that I now have adopted, that I think a lot of Scottish people use, and also generally speaking the British population use, is you reckon? So I think even Australians use this, but...
Do you reckon that so-and-so did that? Or do you reckon that this thing is still in the supermarket?
Do you reckon is just another way of saying, do you think that blah 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 blah. I do think that that phrase is really pretentious, but I catch myself using it all the time. And sometimes I use it with my Malaysian friends and I just cringe a little bit. It's fine. Now I'm gonna heat up a can of beans, because a Scottish breakfast is not complete without a can of Heinz beans. And the last one is a funny one because I always mix this up all the time. Because in Malaysia, we are very used to speaking in a very American way. Our education is British English, but the way we speak is very American for some reason. I guess because of Western media and American TV shows or something, I don't know. Over here, they call chips crisps and they call fries chips. I know, it's so confusing. I always make this mistake. I still call crisps chips, and I still call chips fries. It's just so much easier. Over here it's crisps and chips, but they're different meanings. Oh my god. Sometimes having random conversations with like my friends and stuff, and I'll be like,
oh, I really want like a bag of chips or something.
And they would just be like,
why would you want a bag of chips?
It's very strange to have miscommunication based on crisps and chips, okay? Also the word crisps, it's so difficult to say because you have so many S's and it's like crisps. Ta-da! This is a huge Scottish breakfast. The only thing that's missing is potato scones and tomatoes. This is a pretty hefty breakfast if I do say so myself. You've got black pudding, bacon, 2 eggs, square sausage, Heinz beans, toast, and some mushrooms. Yes, this looks delicious. So those are the 10 Glaswegian / Scottish / British words and slangs that I've now adopted in my vocabulary. I mean, it's nothing compared to Malaysian slangs and sounds like amboi or ayo or nola. Are there any words that I missed out? I'm pretty sure I've adopted more words than that, but I just can't think of any more at the moment. Please leave in the comments below what other words there are that are very Glaswegian or very Scottish or very British. I'd like to know, and I'd like to also understand whether or not I've adopted those words. I hope you enjoyed this video while I cooked a Scottish breakfast for me and my Scottish boyfriend for this weekend. I'm gonna go watch RuPaul's Drag Race now while devouring this huge plate of Scottish breakfast. My name is Samad. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!